All right, I'm going to call to order the Brentwood Board of Aldermen meeting for March 19th, 2018. If you would all rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Alderman Dimmitt,
Here.
Alderman Kramer,
Present.
Alderman Leahy,
Here.
Alderman Lockmiller,
Here.
Alderwoman O'Neill,
Here.
Alderman Pluckta,
Here.
Alderwoman Sims is absent, Alderman Weggie is absent.
All right.
We have a total of 6.
I count 6, which constitutes a quorum, so we'll move right along to approval of tonight's agenda. Are there any changes to this evening's agenda? I have one, if the board would indulge me. I'd like to move item number 5A to item number 16A2. The reason being is that we have a contract on tonight's agenda that needs to be approved before we can actually swear in Chief Spees. So moved.
Second, Your Honor.
Moved and seconded that we make that amendment to the agenda. Is there any discussion? All in favor of the amendment, say aye.
Aye.
Is there any objection to approval of the rest of the agenda by acclamation? Seeing none, it'll be so approved. Item number 4 on tonight's agenda then is consideration and approval of the minutes. 4A are the minutes of February 20, 2018 meeting. Are there any changes to the minutes?
No.
Seeing none, is there any objection to approval by acclamation?
No.
They'll be so approved. 4B is the meeting minutes from March 5th, 2018. Are there any changes to those minutes? Any objection to approval by acclamation? Seeing none, they'll be so approved. Item 5B, we have the Missouri presentation of the Missouri Arbor Award of Excellence. Alderman Kramer, do you have some information on this?
You know, Your Honor, I bet it's coming up here in a second.
All right.
Or I can read it from the actual.
He doesn't.
He does.
Bola, do you have? Well, look, I can say what I know about it, right? So
Go ahead.
go ahead, Bola. You take.
You want me to do it?
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am. Yes.
So last week, Eric Grunenfelder, Janet Levy, and myself, were at the Missouri Community Forest Council Awards Luncheon. We were the only city that had been nominated and received the Excellence Award. As you know, we now have an arborist on staff. Where is Eric? Could you come up? And talk a little bit about the Forestry Commission that we attended their annual meeting.
So every year, the Missouri Forestry Council has their annual meeting down in Columbia where they do multiple things, but one of the things they do is their annual lunch and have their annual excellence awards. One of the things is a municipal award, and we were fortunate enough to receive the municipal award for excellence in arbor for multiple reasons. One was, taking control of the urban forestry and becoming more proactive in our care of trees. And, doing things like doing the tree inventory and making sure that we took down the 100 trees that were considered poor and dangerous. In addition, hiring an urban forester and continuing the care that we've talked about within the past year. All those things, which was put together in the application, led the Missouri Forestry Council to award us with the Arbor Award of Excellence this year. So.
Anyway, so with that said, yeah, I've got it. And before I present the award to Eric, I'd just like to say that this is actually something that's come about as a result of something that started right here with this board. In last year's budget, if you recall, we put together a pretty sizable amount of money for some what I would call deferred maintenance of our urban forest, and put together a plan with Eric's help and with Bola's help. And I'd just like to say that thank you to Bola for making the organizational arrangements that we've made to put that in a department in the city that's done a very good job with it, and Eric for his leadership in making sure that we followed through on our promise to take care of our trees and our urban forest and make it really well. So with that, I will present to Eric what he's already been presented with by the Forestry Council, but so everybody can see it. this is the award we got.
Good things, yes.
All right, we don't have any proclamations this evening, nor do we have any public hearings or bids, so that takes us to item number 9 on the agenda, which is the hearing of any matter of public interest upon the request of any person present. If you'd like to come forward and address your Board of Aldermen, you'll have 3 minutes to do it. Councilman Dolan. This is County Councilman Dolan. He's our representative on the county council, and he'd like to address the board. Go ahead,
Well,
sir.
thank you, Mayor. It's a privilege to be here this evening. I did just want to come by and recognize the new chief, and glad to see you hired an excellent man, and I know you had a lot of great candidates as well, and appreciate all of them for being involved, but look forward to working with the chief and all of you here in the city of Brentwood, as we always do. Another reason, well, getting back to the police just for a minute, I always get a kick out of people saying, well, these community like Brentwood that, you know, what the police don't really have a lot to do. I said, have you ever tried to get a parking space at the promenade for 3 months? So it's, you know, it's a lot of thousands and thousands of people that are here. So your police do a great job of protecting them as well as all the residents. So I want to thank all the first responders in the city of Brentwood. And congratulations, good luck, Chief. One other quick note I wanted to mention is I want to acknowledge the fact that Brentwood was named one of the top 10 cities, as you know, in the nation, or places to live. So I just want to congratulate you personally on that. It gives me a little bragging rights because 3 of the top 10 cities of the top 10 are in the 5th district. So, so thank you. Yes. Thank you for helping me out. But and I just want to acknowledge all the hard work because, again, people take things for granted, and you have tremendous staff and all your employees, but people just take it for granted. But on a day-to-day basis, that's what makes it a top 10 place, is all the employees and your leadership here. So thank you all. And Bo, you're doing a fantastic job of keeping them all in line. So thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Anyone else care to come forward and address the board this evening? Going once, going twice. Sold American, you'll have another chance at the end of the meeting. Item number 10, we don't have any unfinished business this evening, I don't think. Nope. Item number 11 is bills to be given a first reading, and I'd like to start with bill number 6188. Mr. City Attorney, can we have the first reading by title only, please?
Bill number 6188, first reading, an ordinance of the City of Brentwood, Missouri, authorizing the mayor and/or city administrator to enter into and execute an agreement between the City of Brentwood, Missouri, and the Center for Public Safety Management, LLC, and providing for the effective date of this ordinance.
All right, thank you. Alderman Kramer, synopsis?
Yes, Your Honor, a little further illumination for Bill 6188, the Agreement for Public Safety Management, LLC, otherwise known as CPSM, will perform a comprehensive analysis of fire and emergency medical services for the city of Brentwood, Missouri. The CPSM approach to conducting this analysis is unique and comprehensive in that we will link, conduct, and forensic data analysis that has a focus on fire and emergency medical services response types and response times, also workload dedicated to EMS transport, peak call times, and overall operational response workload of the entire fire department. The emergency medical services analysis CPSM will conduct for the city of Brentwood will include the following major outcomes. Conduct a community risk analysis and utilize as a benchmark when examining and making recommendations on the current operational staffing and deployment model. Also analyze the current functional and operational service delivery model for fire and EMS, and make recommendations on the most viable and sustainable fire and EMS service delivery model. Review each division and functional area of the department and make recommendations on organizational structure and a management framework to ensure accountability, increased efficiency, and improved performance. Analyze current operational deployment resources, staffing, cultural design, and operational deployment model. This proposal is specifically designed to provide the city of Brentwood with fantastic services as provided in the details of bill number 6188.
All right, thank you. I'm going to go ahead and make the presentation on this one. This is Bola and I's request, and I want to tell you a little bit about why we're making it. You know, we got started with CPSM. They did a study of our police department, and I think we all found it very useful when it was presented in, I think it was November of last year. And I think, you know, we had an idea that there might be some things that they would find as a result of that study, and I think we got a lot more than what we bargained for on that. And, you know, I think that the reason that we're making this request is that we're thinking that we probably can do the same thing with respect to the fire department, particularly as we go into this phase where we're considering the Joint Fire Command situation, where we're looking at merging the fire command structure with Maplewood and Richmond Heights. We're looking for maybe this to be a tool that we can use with, in conjunction with the Joint Fire Command structure to help make not only the Brentwood fire operations and public safety operations more sustainable and efficient, but also to make the Joint Fire Command more effective for the entire group. So granted, those other cities aren't participating in this, and we're doing it for ourselves, but right now we are ourselves, so we take what we got. But that's really what we're looking for. The timing of this is related to a couple people have expressed some concerns about budget, and I think they're valid concerns. The timing of this is, you know, we did do a very, very, very lean budget this year based on the fact that we were proceeding with the Manchester Renewal Project and unsure whether or not we'd be available to borrow funds to participate in that project. And it looks at this point very, very positive that the funds for that project will be available to us. And so we do have some more leeway than what we might have thought at the beginning of the year when we sort of proposed this. So that's what's bringing the timing of this at this point. And we're hoping that we can get some meaningful feedback on this study prior to the time when we would make a decision on the Joint Fire Command as well. So that's what's driving it at this time. And Bola and I can take questions if you'd like, or Alderman Leahy.
What do we anticipate the total cost being?
It is $44,550. They are giving the city a discount because I belong to the International City County Management Association. Otherwise, the full price would be approximately $49,000.
The contract that's been submitted here to us
Yes.
is for the city of Fairfield, state of California. On page 2 and on the page 5 of 6 is what we have.
We're going to include them as well.
That type thing.
I suspect that's a typo.
Right. This
Well,
is for the city of Brentwood,
Page 1 of
Missouri.
6 has it up in the first paragraph, and then at the bottom, witness of.
We can make those edits. They're minor.
Thank you.
Alderman Lockville.
Will they need access to information from ECDC?
Yes, I suspect that they will need the same access to ECDC that they had when they did the fire department
Right.
study, and that they've gotten before, yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the board? Okay, I just want to make clear on the contract proposal, it's $44,000 for the professional fees. That doesn't, I believe, include expenses, which I would anticipate would be on the order of the same as they were for the police department. If I'm not mistaken, that was about $4,000.
Approximately. They will make at least 2 or 3 visits to town.
Yeah, so I would guess that for the board's consideration, you'd look at the all-in budget on this thing to be about 50, right?
Yep.
Just to be clear.
Thank you.
Right. Okay. Any more questions about that? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to item number 12. One last thing on that. I do have in my possession a number of evaluations that CPSM has done for similar size cities in other parts of the country that I will be sharing with the board just to give you an idea of the type of work product that I'm expecting to get out of it and the type of analysis that we can expect to see. It is much different on the fire side than it is on the police side.
Would that be coming out in the weekly packets?
Yeah, I'll be sending it out actually via email after this meeting.
Thank you, sir.
I had it and I forgot.
Thank you.
Item number 12 is bills to be given a second reading. First up is bill number 6185. Mr. City Attorney, can we have the second reading by title only, please?
Bill number 6185, second reading and consideration for adoption,
An ordinance approving an agreement with Terracon Consultants Incorporated for environmental due diligence services for the Manchester Renewal Project.
Thank you. Alderman Kramer, do we have synopsis?
Yes, Your Honor. Speaking of that project, Bill number 6185, as mentioned, covers the Phase 1 and 2 Environmental Site Assessment Report, and the master agreement proposed for those two phases is related to the acquisition of approximately 50 sites in that target area. Total cost for the service will range from $127,500 to $152,500. Cost to have the assessments is relatively minimal when compared to remediation or cleanup costs, such as digging up, removing soil, etc. Lets you learn about potential issues before you're in the chain of title, and once you're in the chain of that title, you are inevitably responsible under federal law for cleaning up the property if there's environmental hazards, or if you didn't even cause those hazards. The staff recommends a positive consideration by the Board of Aldermen this evening for motion to approve a master agreement with Terracon Incorporated, found in the language of Bill number 6185.
All right.
Your Honor, I'll make the motion to perfect Bill 6185 into ordinance form.
Second.
It's been moved by Alderman Leahy, seconded by Alderman Lockmiller, that we perfect Bill number 6185 into ordinance form. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll have a roll call, please.
Alderman Demmett,
Yes.
Alderman Kramer,
Yes.
Alderman Leahy,
Yes.
Alderman Lockmiller,
Yes.
Alderwoman O'Neill,
Yes.
Alderman Plufka,
Yes.
Mayor Thornton.
I don't get to vote. That's all right. So, only when it's a tie.
Okay.
All right, so, sorry.
We need to get the...
Oh, yeah, so,
Yes.
Bill number,
I'm sorry.
the ordinance number.
Ordinance number.
Bill number 6185 passes, and upon signature of the mayor becomes ordinance number 4827.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Item number 12B is Bill number 6186. Mr. City Attorney, can we have the second reading by title only, please?
Bill number 6186, second reading and consideration for adoption. An ordinance authorizing the mayor acting on behalf of the city of Brentwood, Missouri, to execute an agreement with the police chief of the city of Brentwood, Missouri, and providing for the effective date of this ordinance.
All right, thank you. Alderman Kramer, synopsis?
Yes, Your Honor. Bill number 6186 covers the employment agreement with the City of Brentwood and our new Chief of Police. It authorizes our mayor, acting on behalf of the City of Brentwood, Missouri, to execute an agreement with the Police Chief of the City of Brentwood, Missouri. Initial term of the contract shall be for a period commencing March 12, 2018 to March 12, 2019. This contract may be extended as provided by its terms unless either party provides written notice to the other of its intention to renegotiate and/or not to renew this contract no less than 45 days prior to the end of the initial or any extended terms. This contract shall automatically be extended on the terms and conditions for an additional one-year period. This is Bill number 6186.
All right, thank you. I need a motion to perfect.
Make a motion to perfect Bill number 6186 into ordinance form.
Second.
It's been moved by Alderman Demmett, seconded by Alderman Plufka, that we perfect Bill number 6186 into ordinance form. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Alderman Demmett,
Yes.
Alderman Kramer,
Yes.
Alderman Leahy,
Yes.
Alderman Lockmiller,
Yes.
Alderwoman O'Neill,
Yes.
Alderman Plufka.
Yes.
Bill number 6185 passes, and upon signature
6186.
of the mayor becomes ordinance number
6186.
4827.
28.
4828.
I'm sorry, 4828.
And did we get the bill number right?
She said 6185.
Oh, 6186.
There you go.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Bill number 6186 is ordinance number
4828.
28. Got it.
Got it.
All good? Very good. Thank you. Item number 13, we don't have any bills for first and second reading tonight. Item number 14 is resolutions. We have one resolution this evening. It's resolution number 1090. Alderman Kramer, do you have a synopsis?
I do, Your Honor. This is proposed by one of our elected officials, Resolution 1090, a resolution authorizing the establishment of a new city advisory committee that to facilitate discussions and possible solutions to improving school, religious, and daycare center safety within our city of Brentwood. It is Alderman Leahy who is making the proposal establishing a new city advisory committee to facilitate discussions and possible solutions to improving school, religious, and daycare center activity and safety within our city of Brentwood. This could include natural disasters, active school shooter situations, etc. Individually, the problem would not be solved by any one party. It would require cooperative effort from the city, schools, religious and daycare centers within our community. By tackling the issue through a citywide approach, it's proposed a structure of coordinated responses to find potential solutions would be applicable to specific situations at hand and a solution to be discussed. Resolution number 1090.
Alderman Leahy, would you care to move adoption of the resolution?
I would like to do that, Your Honor.
Second.
Been moved by Alderman Leahy and seconded by Alderman Lockmiller that we adopt resolution number 1090. Is there any discussion? Alderman Leahy.
Okay. Your Honor, I'm coming into the board with a resolution because of the way our code currently reads. Within our code, we require in the standing committees, Public Safety, Public Works, and Ways and Means, that they must be members of the city board. If we go out to outside committees that we have, like planning and zoning, it requires that the members of the planning and zoning to be a full-fledged and voting member must be a resident of the city of Brentwood to work with. As an advisory committee to be established on this one, I would foresee that we would invite the school district and other heads of other facilities in Brentwood to participate. And in other words, to do that, I have to have a brand-new committee to work with. As I read the code, this committee would have to be approved by the body of the whole, and then you would appoint members and reach out to the other organizations to see if they would participate and join in with us. I would love it to start small and start working through different solutions and stuff that we might or might not be able to accomplish, and then reach out so that we could better plan for the rest of the whole city as we go down the road. That's why I've asked it to be a resolution and not an ordinance to create a standing committee to go after. Unfortunately, I don't think Brentwood can live as being immune for the potentials of what's out there, as we've watched last month and over the last few years. And I think it would be better if the city helped facilitate the discussions within the community. Our police and fire have to respond to whatever comes up. If we can give them the better tools and get some planning and stuff in place, we might be able to prevent or even be better prepared for the problem when it does occur instead of after the fact. And thus, I'm asking the board to look at this and hopefully get on board and support a new committee, advisory committee to the city.
Thank you. Alderman Plufka.
Mr. Mayor, with your permission, can I ask the Alderman a question?
You may.
With regard to what you plan here and the format in which you plan it, have you gone to the school board and asked them whether or not they're interested in participating?
At this time, I have not, because I'm not allowed to act as an individual to work with. I have to have the vote of the whole body in order to go the next step.
I'm certain you understand that they're a separate political entity and not under our influence. We can't compel them to be a part of this.
We can't compel anybody, but I think if we work together, we stand a better chance of finding a better solution.
And what is your understanding of the current, is your understanding that there are no plans in place currently for the safety of our schools?
No, I do know that there are certain things that are happening on a daily and monthly basis. I would love to see some of those things become a little bit more beefed up, but I'm going to rely upon the professionals. I have my personal opinions on what would be a good solution, but I'm not a person in the trenches that deals with those individual entities, the schools and the religious and the daycare centers. But I think if we get them all to coordinate with us, I think you'll find a better response.
So in that process, understanding what you just said about your lack of knowledge of the specifics in terms of safety, what would the non-police, non-fire, non-school board members of this committee bring to this committee? What's the need for having it be made up the way that you've suggested? Why can't we just ask our chief of police, our new chief of police, to put together a meeting with the school board to do precisely what you asked, or our fire chief, or both.
I'm not sure that that's not possible, but I think by making it a committee that reports to this body straight up, and to give that committee a defined assignment, I think would be a better way to approach.
So please don't misunderstand me, and I mean no disrespect whatsoever.
You're not.
I think this is a fine concept, and I with you share the concerns of, I think, everybody in the city of Brentwood, and if you're not watching the news, and if you're not afraid of this kind of thing, you're not watching the news. But it strikes me that perhaps this is the kind of thing that might be accomplished, at least at the beginning, by something maybe a little less formal and a little less cumbersome in terms of the number of people and the number of things being brought together, and instead we might be better off just simply going to our chief of police, going to our fire chief, and asking them to start a conversation with the school board with precisely the same end as what you've proposed here. That's really my comment. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Alderman Kramer.
Mr. Mayor, if I could pass along applause for the idea and the importance of the topic and the goals to Alderman Leahy.
Absolutely.
And we received the email about your idea and suggestion a short while ago, and in the meantime, we have the excellent opportunity under which a new police chief is incoming to our city, and we've received a memorandum from him dated today about much the same topic, and might you consider the proposal, even though the subject is extremely important and potentially there is an emergent circumstance, for the chief to weigh in on this topic as he's proposed in his recommendations prior possibly to the next meeting. Maybe he'd give us an update and a recommendation for some enhancement of your idea. Maybe we could get some collective agreement between now and then that would possibly save us some having to redo a couple things with his suggestions.
Alderman O'Neill.
As a former teacher, I am absolutely positive the schools have a plan in place. I'm not sure that we need another layer at this point with a new police chief on board who definitely seems to have a plan. I'd like to give him some time to work through this and not add to it at this point. Keep the good idea, but just give him some time and bring it back in a couple months if that's possible.
Alderman Lockmiller.
I support Alderman Leahy's ideas. I just don't know if a new committee is the way to go about it. I mean, we're looking at 4 to 6 months down the road before this thing would be up and running. We have a committee, it's called Public Safety Committee. I think they could be tasked with working with staff to work with these different facilities, and we could start as early as next week on that, instead of waiting to form this committee.
Alderman Dimmitt.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just piggyback on what Alderman Plufka said. I think this is a little bit of putting the cart before the horse, and we got a new chief. Let's give him an opportunity to get in there and assess where he thinks the department is. He's asked for some time to meet with the principals and to review the schools, see what their needs are, see what their current plans are. And I think clearly we have no jurisdiction over the principals of the schools or the school board. But I would like to see this maybe, I think we can committee things to death, I guess is what I'm saying. Ultimately, that may be where we end up going on this, but I prefer to have some fact-finding, possibly through public safety, and invite some teachers, invite some members from the school district, the principals from the different schools, where it's Mary Magdalene or the public schools, and to peer and get some evidence from them as to what their needs are and to what extent the city can help them, if at all, whether it's through the fire department or through the police department. So again, ultimately, we may end up where Alderman Leahy wants to go, but I would first like to get those facts.
Alderman Leahy.
When I first started developing all this, I too thought public safety might be able to handle it. Mr. O'Keefe, if you'll follow along with me, I'm in section 110.280 of the Brentwood Code, section B, and this is the Public Safety Committee. The committee shall review all ordinances related to police, fire, public safety, and fire safety, and have legislative oversight over all matters that relate to public safety. That doesn't give them the ability to pull this committee together and work through it as a joint citywide venture. That's why I had to approach it with an advisory committee coming through the board to work with, because our code limits their jurisdiction of what they get to do. I looked at Public Works and I looked at the Ways and Means. They too stayed restricted to legislative oversights. So I couldn't get over that hurdle. That's why I'm coming in with the advisory committee.
Is there any further discussion? Just sitting up here and, trying to facilitate things as best I can, I heard a couple of different ideas roll around, so I want to, rather than just calling for a vote, it seems to me that there's a few different options here. So one option would be to refer the resolution to the Public Safety Committee. I heard another possibility of just postponing action on the resolution for, let's say, 3 months or 6 months would be what was suggested once or twice. I'm just here to help out. So, I would entertain a motion to do either of those things. If nobody wants to make one of those motions, then I'd be happy to call for a vote.
You
Alderman
have
Leahy.
a motion on the floor, sir.
Yes, I know.
Okay.
Yeah. But those motions would supersede they would call for an action on the current motion. Alderman Kramer.
Your Honor, may I ask Alderman Leahy if he's opposed to allowing our incoming police chief, as an example, to weigh in on while this is on hold for a period of time?
I'm not opposed, but I'm not in favor of going that route. I think this board needs to establish to get this thing moving. The police chief and the fire chief are, as I suggest in the resolution, 2 of your 5 to 7 members so that they can work through. I don't have a time frame as to when this committee would set up and start doing anything, because we still have to reach out to the school district and others that may participate down the road so that we could develop that committee standing. But I think this board needs to move in that direction to at least start coordinating an activity for citywide. And realistically, I don't see where passing it tonight interferes with what the police chief has in his memo. It gives him more meat because we're behind him versus let's delay and see what comes up down the road. I'm not comfortable with more delays.
Okay. Well, seeing no further discussion, I'll call for a roll call, please.
Alderman Demmett.
No. No, whoa. So, just so we're all clear on what we're voting on. So, my apologies. So, the motion is to adopt Resolution 1090. A vote in favor is to adopt the resolution. A vote nay is to not adopt the resolution. Sorry. Go ahead. Alderman Demmett.
Alderman Demmett.
No.
Alderman Kramer.
No.
Alderman Leahy.
Yes.
Alderman Lockmiller.
No.
Alderwoman O'Neill.
No.
Alderman Plufka.
No.
Okay, by a count of 1 aye and 5 nays, the motion will not be adopted. All right, that moves us to item number 15 on the agenda, which is accounts against the city. Alderman Demmett, the warrant list, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I've had an opportunity to go over the warrant list with the city administrator and the director of finance. And I would make a motion to approve the warrant list in the amount of $393,073.68.
Second.
It's been moved by Alderman Demmett, seconded by Alderman Kramer, that the board adopt the warrant list in the amount, or approve the warrant list in the amount of $393,073.68.
Yes, sir.
Is there any discussion? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Alderman Demmett,
Yes.
Alderman Kramer,
Yes.
Alderman Leahy,
Yes.
Alderman Lockmiller,
Yes.
Alderwoman O'Neill,
Yes.
Alderman Plufka.
Yes.
And it sounds like the bills are going to be paid again for another month. Well done. Item number 16 on the agenda is reports of committees and department heads, and the first up is yours truly. The first thing on my agenda this evening is we have I don't want to say re-established, we've revitalized our Urban Redevelopment Corporation, also known as the 353 Corporation, for the purposes of carrying out the redevelopment of the Manchester Road area, the Manchester Renewal Project. And as a result of that, we need to make appointments to the board of directors of that corporation, being that it is a separate entity from the city. By our own ordinance, the directors of the corporation must consist of 4 aldermen and 5 citizens at large, one of whom must be a representative approved by the school board. And so I have prepared a list that should have been included in your packet of the people whom I would like to appoint this evening. I'll just read them for everybody. So being appointed or reappointed would be Alderman Kramer and Alderman Leahy. I would suggest I am appointing Alderman Plufka, who would take the place of Alderman Robertson, and Alderman Lockmiller, who would take the place of Alderwoman Manistar, Cindy. And reappointing Sherry Bilderback, who is a member of our Planning and Zoning Commission. Appointing Jeff Gould, who's a resident of Ward 3 and a big proponent of this project, as you know. Also reappointing Chris Jones. This is Chris Jones formerly of the school board, who's also a resident of Ward 3. I believe he lives right down the street from Jeff Gould, actually. So, but as you can tell, it's very heavy on Ward 3 representation. But these are the folks who are living in the area where the project will most of the project will be taking place. So I think it's only fair to task them with all the work that goes into this. I've spoken to Chris Jones about serving as the chairman of the board, and he has agreed to do that. So those are the appointments I'm bringing to the board this evening, and I guess I would ask for
You missed one.
No, the other 2 don't need action.
No, the other 2 don't need to be reappointed. They're already good. Yeah.
Okay.
The other 2 members of the board, just for the sake of completeness, are Dan Glowski, who is serving at the time was serving on our Planning and Zoning Commission. He was appointed by Pat Kelly, and Keith Ravenberg, who is still the chairman of the Board of Trustees of the school board. So those would be the other 2 members of the corporation, and Keith would be the person who is representing the school board on the commission per the ordinance. So that would be the board of directors. The appointments that I'm making are Tom Kramer, Andy Leahy, David Plufka, Steve Lockmiller, Sherry Bilderback, Jeff Gould, and Chris K. Jones. And I would entertain a motion to approve those appointments by yours truly.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded that the Board of Aldermen approve those appointments to the Brentwood 353 URC Corporation. Is there any discussion? Alderman Leahy.
In the fact that we have not met for the last 2 years, is there something that we need to accomplish or do in order to bring us back into state certification?
Yeah, so we've already done it. The legal counsel for the corporation has filed all the necessary papers, and we will advise the board when the first meeting will take place. I anticipate right now that will be, I think we decided late April or early May would be the first meeting. So, any further discussion? Seeing none, roll call approving these appointments.
Alderman Demmett,
Yes.
Alderman Kramer,
Yes.
Alderman Leahy,
Yes.
Alderman Lockmiller,
Yes.
Alderwoman O'Neill,
Yes.
Alderman Plufka.
Yes.
All right, by a vote of 6 aye and 0 nay, the appointments are approved. Thank you. Like I said, the first meeting of that board of directors will be, I anticipate, early to mid-May, sometime in there. All right, and so item number 2 under the mayor's report is the swearing in of our new police chief, and I assume that's why everybody's come tonight. I can tell you, I think I told you last meeting what a difficult choice it was, but the reason it was such a difficult choice is because we did have so many good candidates, and I think we've done very well, and we're very lucky to have gotten the services of Colonel Joe Spees, who I've appointed as our police chief, and I'll ask Bola to do the honors of swearing Chief Spees in.
I, Joseph L. Spees, Jr.,
I, Joseph L. Spees, Jr.,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Missouri,
and the Constitution of the State of Missouri,
and that I will faithfully demean myself
that I will faithfully demean myself
in the office of Chief of Police,
in the office of Chief of Police,
for which I was appointed on the 12th day of March, 2018.
for which I was appointed on March 12, 2018.
All right. I was waiting for the Exodus. All right. Moving on, item number 16B, reports of the Public Safety Committee. Alderman Plufka.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We will meet on the 28th of March in this room at 5:30, and what I think will be our new chief's first public performance at a committee, so you don't want to miss that. He's got some big shoes to fill. Jim McIntyre did an excellent job reporting to our committee and keeping us updated on the operations of the police department over the last year. So thank you again, and we'll see you next Wednesday, a week from Wednesday.
All right, Public Works Committee, Alderman Lockmiller.
We had a good meeting a week or so ago. We heard from a fee-based, kind of like an Uber for seniors, but without the technology. No apps, you just use the phone and call them, and out they come. So they'll be starting up sometime, I guess in May. Heard from our Public Works Director, he was on what he's going to do during 2018, as well as looked at trying to hold down the cost of Brentwood days, maybe charging fees or selling alcohol. We decided to keep it as we've done in the past. I met with the Public Works Director, directed him to get bids on dumpsters for Brentwood Forest, and had to put our fund sewer lateral program discussion on hold until we get some legal opinion. So our next meeting will be Wednesday, April 11th at 4:30 right here.
Wednesday, April 11th. Come one, come all. Let's see, Director of Planning and Development.
No report this evening.
Thank you. Ways and Means Committee, Alderman Dimmitt.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Our next meeting is tomorrow night, 6 o'clock here, assuming we can get enough people to show up. This is a continuation of last week because we did
Assuming
not
the
have a
continued
quorum.
interest of the
Yes.
of the members, right?
Yes, yes.
Very good. Mr. City Attorney.
No report, sir.
Madam City Administrator.
Thank you, Mayor Thornton. I have two reports for you. The first one, I would like to ask Karen Shaw to come up to the podium. The Brentwood Municipal Code and the state statute both require that the city shall publish semi-annually in the month of February and August of each year, a full detailed account and statement of the receipts and expenditures and indebtedness of the city. So back in February, we published this in the Pulse, but as a housekeeping matter, City Attorney O'Keefe had recommended that we start to formally present it at the Board of Aldermen meeting so that it enters our recording of the minutes that we are actually doing it.
So consider it formally submitted.
All right. We don't have to listen to the whole thing, right?
I just want to point out that it's the preliminary combined statement of revenues. This is actually a schedule that is done in the CAFR, but it is not the final one, because we haven't done the audit yet. The audit's not finished. So I guess what I'm saying is these numbers are going to change, and particularly, if you look at the bottom, the COPs for 2009, the very end of the year, we refinanced those, so those would now become 2017 with different amounts. Any questions?
Alderman Demmett.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Karen, can you explain to me then on, under the, why some of these numbers don't match up with what was approved by this board in the budget in terms of the beginning fund balances? For instance, the general fund, on the budget, we started out with $4,869,751, but on this document in front of us, it's about $3,000, $2,000 more.
Which budget are you talking about, the 17 or the 18?
The 18.
Because the 18, again, was preliminary done back probably in, as we talked about today.
Okay.
September, October, and those were, not adjustments, but those were estimates given by the department heads for, particularly for expenditures. And it ended up being totally different due to Manchester, what we spent towards the end of the year. So this is more in line with what it is than what it was back in October or September or whatever.
I understand that with the year-end fund balance, but I guess my question is the beginning fund balance.
For January 1st, 2017, is that what
Yes.
you're asking?
Yes, that's exactly right.
I don't know why that's different. I would have to look it up.
Okay.
Because that came from,
I'm sorry, I just saw
Fundware.
this about an hour before the meeting started. Otherwise, I would have reached out to you. But yeah, on page 10 of the 2018 budget, we have for 2017 a beginning fund balance for general fund of $4.8 million. And on this document in front of us has a fund balance on January 1st, 2017 of $5 million.
I'm not sure at all about that 4.8 million. I've always thought we've been around 5 million.
Okay.
So I don't know.
Okay.
I'd have to look at
Was
that.
that after the mayor's bonus, or?
Before or after Manchester? It's always been, to my knowledge, around
I
5
think I
million.
might have an idea.
Because the capital improvements, that's 2.93 and it's 2.93.
Right.
The library obviously is not on here, but the storm is 2.5 and it's 2.5. It's right on. It's the general fund that's off by about $200,000 or
And
$160,000.
I couldn't answer. I can come back. I'm guessing, my guess is that this is pretty close to being right. I'd have to look at the budget. And
Okay.
I don't know. I don't have it in front of me. Anything else? Now considered it
Thank you very much.
formally.
Formally presented. Yeah. Well done.
Thank you, Karen. The next item, so at the March 5th meeting, Mayor Thornton announced that going forward at the second meeting of the month, the city administrator will be providing to the Board of Aldermen the update for the Manchester renewal. So on the 5th of March, we presented the period for February of 2017 through the end of the year, December 31st, 2017. So the update for you this evening is for the payment period of January 1st, 2018 through the end of that month, January 31st, 2018 as well. So once again, we have broken up the cost, the category of cost into three. Investment cost, which are costs that can be recovered due to a large extent if the project is not completed. The direct project costs that are necessary to provide additional information regarding cost or feasibility of the project, for example, design, engineering studies. And these are items we will not know unless we spend the money to find out. And the third category is considered to be indirect or sunk costs, costs that are related to the project but do not fall into the other two categories that I mentioned. So for that first month of 2018, the city spent $10,000 deposit for the future anticipated closing of 2814 Breckenridge. We closed on that property today, so.
As a side note,
As
that
a
closed
side
this
note,
morning.
It closed this morning, absolutely. Total spent to date was $166,205.48. Second category, no additional funds were spent on direct project cost for that time period, but total amount that has been spent is $348,599 and 45 cents. In the last category, 22,850 was spent on environmental surveys for future project acquisitions. I believe earlier this evening, the board also approved an ordinance selecting Terracon to continue to provide that service to the city. Total amount spent to date, $243,288.39.
Any questions about that? Okay, seeing none. Is that it?
That's it.
Thank you. Let's see, Madam Excise Commissioner, has she delegated her authority to somebody else?
To Mr. Excise Commissioner.
Oh, all right, Mr. Deputy Excise Commissioner.
If I remember how to do this.
Yeah.
We have in front of us a request by McGrath Elementary Parent Teachers Organization for their annual auction. It's just one night, and it's at the St. Mary Magdalene. So I would request approval of this special use permit for McGrath Elementary PTO.
Second, Your Honor.
It's been moved and seconded that the board approve the application for special use permit by the McGrath PTO. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye, please.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? By unanimous approval, we will approve that permit. Let's see. That brings us to library. Madam Library Liaison.
Yes, thank you. There are two brief announcements. One is that the staff of the library has completed training so that they can now register voters. It would be nice if eventually there would be a way for someone coming in for an occupancy permit could be also sent downstairs so that they could register to vote at the same time. But that has been accomplished. The second is that every so often they upgrade their computers. The time has come, and they won a mini grant from the federal government, which is administered through the Missouri State Library. And it's almost $12,000, so by summer, there should be several new computers, both for them and the staff. Unfortunately, this is federal money, but administered by the state. It is not in the 2019 budget, so if you have any influence on the federal budget, reinstating that for the future would be great. Thank you.
All right, thank you. The Municipal League. So I have one thing to report on the Municipal League. Well, actually, two things to report on the Municipal League. The first is that we have made application for a innovation award again this year. And you all, as members of the Municipal League, should have received an email asking you to vote for the Members' Choice Award. So if you get a chance, you can read the brilliant submission by the city of Brentwood and then the 23 other about average submissions and and vote accordingly. I mean, I don't want to tell you how to vote, but vote your conscience. But there's one that's clearly better than the rest, and I'll let you figure out which one it is. The other thing is that the Municipal League is going to be having, the results of that, by the way, are going to be announced in April, which is, I believe it's National City County Government Month or something like that, which is why they do it in April. So we'll know on that in April. And then the Municipal League annual meeting takes place in September this year, and it's going to be held in Branson, I believe. Branson. So if you are up for attending the annual meeting of the Missouri Municipal League and or just taking a little trip down to Branson, go ahead. That's what's going on. So, any questions about that? Okay, great. New business. We have one item of new business. Oh, sorry. Any announcements? My bad.
Ward 4 will have its monthly meeting next Tuesday, the 27th, at 6 o'clock in the clubhouse. Again, anyone is welcome.
All right. Alderman Leahy.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ward 3 meeting for the month of March is Tuesday night, the 27th, 7 o'clock here in the council chambers, open to all who would like to come up and informally discuss what's going on in the city of Brentwood. There is a municipal election held on Tuesday, the 3rd of April. Please get out and vote. And then this evening, the Brentwood School District is hosting a candidates forum in conjunction with the League of Women Voters. We'll start at 7 o'clock tonight. That's why we started early. And it is over at the Brentwood District Headquarters in the Handley Industrial Court. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Any other announcements? Seeing none, under item 18, I see an item of new business and it's a bill.
Yes.
Does this really need to be a bill?
Yes, I was instructed that it should be a bill. I should present it as a bill. This is the, yeah.
First and second?
So are we doing first and second reading on this then?
We could. It would be ideal because this is
Yeah,
related
it
to
just
the
would have been
budget.
ideal to have it on the first and second reading part of the agenda. But that's all right, we can move back. I mean, I'm just, that's okay. Okay, so let's do this. Mr. City Attorney, could we have the first reading of Bill 6189?
Bill number 6189, first reading, an ordinance authorizing an addendum to the professional services agreement for the year ending December 31, 2017 with Bott Steel and Company, PC, for accounting services.
All right, Alderman Kramer, we have a synopsis?
Yes, Your Honor. For Bill number 6189, this is the addendum, as we previously heard. Following the year-end steps done last year, the accounting firm of Bott's Deal felt there were two items not within the original scope of their bid. In order to get the work done in a timely fashion for the year ending December 31, 2017, staff asked them to submit an addendum to their original quote in the amount of $3,000 for the additional services required to complete that 2017 financial statement. The services include the following: to coordinate the accumulation of city records in preparation of the annual financial audit, accounting for the following funds: Fund 90, the COPS 2009 Tax Increment Fund; Fund 92, the COP for 2014 Tax Increment Fund; Fund 96, the Brentwood Eager Tax Increment Fund; Fund 97, Handley Station Tax Increment Financing 2015 Fund, to calculate and record journal entries for the additional amounts owed under the Meridian Tax Increment Fund Agreement, to assist with the year-end accruals for revenues on the modified accrual basis, provide journal entries on full accrual basis for the government-wide reporting, and assistance with providing information necessary to complete disclosures in the comprehensive annual financial report. Staff recommends to the full Board of Aldermen this evening to consider the approval of the addendum submitted by Bott Steel and Company, PC, and to authorize City Administrator of the City of Brentwood to enter into and execute the engagement letter. This is Bill number 6189.
All right, thank you. I'm just going to go right into the second reading, and then if we have questions and/or discussion, we can do it all at once. So, Mr. City Attorney, can we have the second reading by title only, please?
Bill number 6189, second reading and consideration for adoption. An ordinance authorizing an addendum to the professional services agreement for the year ended December 31, 2017 with Bott Steel and Company, PC, for accounting services.
All right, thank you. Motion to perfect, please.
Make a motion to perfect Bill number 6189 into ordinance form.
Second?
Moved by Alderman Dibbitt, seconded by Alderman Plufka to perfect Bill number 6189. Is there any discussion? Looks like a $3,000 addendum to our accounting package. Alderman Leahy.
I was under the impression that we had a firm that was already monitoring the MDC site because of all the problems that we had with their utility taxes and stuff.
So this is different. Cook and Riley does that, and we have an agreement for that. This is to help the city prepare for the audit. So all of this accounting documentation has to be prepared before the auditors come in. So what you're referencing is a service provided by Cook and Riley. So this is different from that.
Okay.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Alderman Demmett.
Yes.
Alderman Kramer.
Yes.
Alderman Leahy.
Yes.
Alderman Lockmiller.
Yes.
Alderwoman O'Neill.
Yes.
Alderman Plufka.
Yes.
Ordinance.
You gotta read.
I'm sorry. Okay, so, Bill number 6189 passes and upon signature of the mayor becomes ordinance 4829.
All right, thank you. That brings us to item number 19 on the agenda, which is the hearing of any matter of public interest upon the request of any person present. If you'd like to come forward and address the Board of Aldermen, you'll be given at least 3 minutes to do so. And I'm hearing crickets. All right.
Your Honor, motion to adjourn?
Second?
Moved and seconded that we adjourn tonight's meeting. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? We're adjourned.